In fact, the federal government of Nigeria has announced and declared tomorrow, Tuesday, public holiday to honor the departed soul. Well, President Muhammadu Buhari has been described as a patriot, a disciplined man, following condolences pouring in from across the globe. Well, at first, he was a military man before he became a civilian. He was not known until 1966 when he joined, fellow mutineers to remove the sitting head of state, then Agoin Ironsi. In 1975, where history repeated itself as Muhammadu Buhari joined some other soldiers to remove the head of state, then Yakubu Gowon. Not done yet. In 1983, then that was when we had our president as Shehu Shagari. Shehu Shagari was first elected in 1979. Then he started enjoying his second spell as president in 1983. But then it was cut short because Buhari and Idi Agbon came calling. They removed him from office. Unfortunately for them, they spent just 2 years in office because Badamasi Babangida spearheaded a coup d'etat which removed them from office. Well, later, President Muhammadu Buhari would remove the toga of military. He found himself adorned in the babariga of the civilian. Well, he was a member of AMPP when he sought to become president of Nigeria, later CPC, which metamorphosed or more or less coalesced into APC. He became president. First time he defeated the incumbent president Goodluck Jonathan. Second time he defeated Atiku Abubakar. And 2 years on, he would pass in a London hospital. Well, that will form the cross of the matter on Viewpoint, as I'm going to be joined, as always, by my team of discussant. Last week, Mr. Tope Okewu was not here, but I'm happy that he's here, and he's here with a bang. Thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome. It was, as a journalist, sometimes you can't even predict your movements. I was on my way here when I had an urgent call.
Thank God you are here.
Thank God I'm here. And good evening, everybody. It's nice having me again.
Well, just as I said, Mr. Tope Okewu is a member of the 4th Estate of the REM, and of course a public affairs analyst. Well, equally, I have joining me in the studio, as always, is the only learned person here, Mr. Felix Alonga. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me again. Viewers, good evening.
All right, let's start that discussion from here. The late President Muhammadu Buhari will be remembered by so many things, just as he was described by world leaders: a patriot, an elder statesman, a disciplinarian. But for you, what impressions did he leave as a military man and as a civilian?
Well, let me just say that in 1983-84, when he came for the first time, I was in secondary school. I think I was from 4, as it was called then. And before then, we were not paying school fees. But when he came, he introduced school fees. And many people dropped out. We were used to free education. It was then the UPN that free education, free health, rural integrated services, just 4 cardinal program. But when he came, he cancelled all those free this, free that.
But that was the same time that I introduced war against indiscipline. Why?
Yes, now I'm talking of how it affected
you as a person.
As a person, and affected many parents. In 1979/80, when the UPN declared free education, many people who were either to learning job as apprentices, those who were drivers already, those who never had the idea that they were going to school again, returned to the classroom. And now, because it was free, a free locker and everything except your uniform, books were given to us, even writing materials, including maths, biro, were all given to us free of charge. So it motivated people to come back to classroom, and people were getting education until it came and stopped that. Those people went back, and many of them, that was how they ended their educational pursuits. So now, thank God, Barrister Alunge is here. That time in 1984, there was, they posted military governors to states.
Administrators.
Governors.
Okay, governors.
Governors, yes.
Oh, governors.
It was Abacha that called them administrators.
Yes.
When it came, many people lost their jobs. Because they rationalized, they downright, they right size, and many people lost their job in the state civil service. So that was then. Then introduced war against indiscipline, and that was the only legacy people will always talk about when they wanted to come back in 2015. That he was a disciplinarian, he hated the corruption, he did this, he did that. That is another ball game. When you get to that bridge, we are likely going to cross it. But if you look at its trajectory since 1984, December 83 to 84 when it came, many people lost their means of livelihood. In the process of trying to enforce war against indiscipline, many people who had animals being reared got them confiscated. Those people who have bought their markets earlier were forcefully seized because they wanted to force down the price. So many things, many of them, somebody bought goods last week, he has not sold them, and you said, okay, we must sell at this particular price. Why don't you allow him or her to finish selling what he had in stock before you start implementing that? And that was then. Then when you look at it, that was the time the military regime will pass a law and backdate it.
Is it Decree 2 you're talking about?
Not Decree 2 alone. This decree that led to the death of
we had Decree 2.
No, that was against we journalists.
But okay.
Yes.
Bartholomew Wu
and three of them.
Benjamin, there were three of them.
Three of them were killed because the offense,
let's use the term executed.
Yes.
Not killed.
Yes, executed and killed. They died now. So what I'm saying is that you make a law today and it had retroactive effect. That's wrong. So in this part of Nigeria, Yoruba, you don't talk hills of the dead. But we are not talking hills of him. We are talking of what actually happened or transpired when it was military head of state. So my opinion as a military head of state, any military government is an aberration. So I don't really like their ways of doing things. Many other things that I can't remember now that Barrister Alunge and the elderly person would remember.
Are you reading his mind? Anyway, just as you said, we as Yoruba, we don't like speaking ill of the dead. Or that does not mean we should not touch on some areas which were not favorable to us. Let me find out from you, how impressed were you when Muhammadu Buhari was a military man and later on when he removed the toga of a military and became a civilian president for 8 years?
Thank you. I think you have given the background and antecedents of his leadership, both as military head of state and also as a civilian president. For me, as a person, the way I assess Buhari, I see him as epitome of integrity and a person that is highly disciplined. At the time he came in 1983, fortunately, I was serving as a copper in the Ondo State House Assembly. So that after Baba Jashin read the budget.
Was that the time of Jowolo and the rest?
Yes, overnight we just had the military, some that the military has taken over. And, so many of them were arrested. Some of them were jailed at that particular time.
Without trial?
Because, he has rightly said that the military is an aberration. Because they are not trained in the art of governance. But what the politician did at that particular time, their activities, their actions became aberration to the interests of Nigerians, and that the military as a whole, that I had no option to intervene to make sure that, because of there were a lot of decadence all over the place, corruption, violence, and he came in to be the head of state of Nigeria. And in an attempt to address some of these problems in Nigerian society, he embarked on both steps to ensure that, Nigeria now on the right path. You look at the ethical aspect of it, the way of living in Nigeria, and he came up with the idea of war against indiscipline. Because ethics, the way you interact, that has to do with your attitude, commitment, and other things. You have to make sure that even in your dressing, in your workshop, that everything is put in proper perspective. And everybody has to queue. You take your turn, so that there is orderliness in the society. And at that particular time, if you're a mechanic and you are leaving your workshop, you must put on your kit clean before you go out to where you want to buy spare parts. Whatever the work you are doing, people now start dressing well and be in queue to take their own turn.
But that was long ago.
That's what he did at that particular time. And at the same time, he came up with the issue of the PTF.
Okay.
And are you getting now?
Petroleum Trust Fund.
Petroleum Trust Fund. And the fund they were able to get from petroleum at that particular time was used to embark on infrastructure development.
It wasn't him, sir. It was Abacha.
He was made the chairman.
That was Abacha. We are talking about his tenure.
But that notwithstanding, is part of his own antecedent. That it's okay. At the time he was there, being a disciplined person at that time, the money that was put at his own doorstep, he utilized the money for the development of this nation, and at the same time trying to right size and downsize the public service at the federal level and state level, saying that the civil service already overbloated, and everybody that the only thing anybody can do in Nigeria at that particular time is to work in the public service. And at the same time, the Nigeria as a country was no longer getting value for the money being expended on the public service. And the most important is, okay, let right size what is supposed to be the structure that are supposed to, the number of ministries, the number of the manpower or public servants or civil servants that are supposed to work in a particular organization, so that there will be enough money for other sectors of the economy. And it was his own style at that particular time that gave him an advantage. When he now said, they now started, when the civilian dispensation came, that if as a military head of state he was able to do like this, do this, that, so okay, let's also give him opportunity. He has tried 4 times.
Yes.
And most of his supporters or followers are majorly from the northern part of the country, but that this man must have gotten something special. Why is he continue to try? First time, second time, third time. But to the glory of God and the support through the formation of the APC from different legacy parties.
The coalition.
You cannot even call it. It's not.
CPC came, ACN came.
Yes, the whole form of a coalition is to come up with a new party, not the type of coalition that is being done now. The present coalition is gathering together of strange bedfellows, and that's why they're having problems. But every party that made up the APC forgot, or in a way put aside, their individual identities to have a common ground. At least it's a matter of give and take. And at the end of the day, thank God, the man that initiated the coalition made the sacrifices, because
he stepped down for Buhari.
He stepped down because he was seeing what others couldn't see. He was trying to watch and see what will be his own future, and he waited. He did it for Atiku when he formed the ACN, allowed Atiku to come in, and when the APC came aboard also, he also supported Buhari to come in. And that's why some people maybe in the last few days, so though it was not the vote. So
to cut a long story short, while in office, what did Buhari do? There were a lot of things that he was supposed to do that he did not do.
Let me tell you.
And there were things that he was supposed to do that he did very well.
Thank God, when he came, second time as the president, PDP was condemned, not fulfilling the mandate given to them in terms of ensuring that we have better means of livelihood, and that corruption was so real in every area of our national life, and that people don't believe, this is a man of integrity that will be able to assist us. And at the same time was security problem in the country. The issue of Boko Haram was already in the offing. And you can also remember the issue of Chibok girls that were also kidnapped, a lot of bombing all over the whole place. And all those pockets of problems all over the country gave opportunity for Buhari. He was a dynamic person, he always very focused. And when he came in, he embarked on infrastructure development. And it's okay. Apart from building roads, electricity, provision of water and other things like that, and make sure that institutions, the institutions have a facelift. It's okay that how will you address the issue of poverty so as to allow the poor and the vulnerable to have their own share of the national cake? And it came up with the idea of social investment that was under the supervision of the vice president at that particular time, and introduced the Empower program, in which the team unemployed university graduates of tertiary institutions, university, polytechnic, and college of education, were being engaged to do 2 years engagement, serving in some of the critical area of the economy in this country, depending on their qualification. And also came up with the idea, in the education sector, we have a lot of out-of-school children. And it's as a result of inability of so many parents to provide balanced diets. Not to talk of even providing books, uniform, and other instructional materials. Okay, let's also assist the poor by having what is known a home-grown feeding program.
School feeding.
Yes, school feeding program, in which even the aggregators, the local farmers, because it was domesticated, what the menu being provided for the children were localized agricultural produce within the confinement of a particular state. And that has actually improved the economy of the poor and the vulnerable, and also embarked on the issue of cash transfer. Though it was being criticized at that particular time that those who were in charge, that they were giving the money to their own cronies, to their own family members. But that notwithstanding, whether they are family or they are all Nigerians. But thank God, this present administration is trying to fine-tune that particular time. That one is being done now. that is
sustain it.
To be able to sustain it, and it has been legalized and been institutionalized now, because there is an enabling act of National Assembly to establish an agency for social investment.
So negative, positive, we have positive side.
And when you look at the foreign aspect at that particular time, we had a positive image regardless of the problem we are facing in an economy. Where Nigeria was at peace with so many other nations of the world at that particular time.
But I'm not sure Nigeria was at peace with Iran because of the Shiites.
I will just say this.
Yeah.
When I look at a government, I look at both
negative and positive.
Let me just tell you about Buhari was a parochial leader. He was so fixated about his tribe, those areas. And I will tell you, when he became president as a military head of state, what did he do? Ajasin and all the Southwest governors were put in prison. What did he do to Shagari? He put him in government house. What kind of?
How sure are you?
That is in the public domain. Now let me tell you,
it was because he was a president.
Okay, so others were not governors. Now let me just tell you, when he became president, second time, this time, what brought about the others farmers clashes? It was because he was the president, and you know that he always declared 150 cows. He was an hard man himself. He had farms that he reared cattle. So the killer herdsmen became so powerful that even the life of humans were as.
That's an allegation anyway.
No, it was during his period that Baba lost his daughter. It was his period that Chief Falaye, now Anoba, was kidnapped on his farm, along his farm, and many kidnappings by these people.
But so kidnapping started a long time ago.
Yes, but when you know that it became commercial.
Okay, they used to be known as Bomo.
It became commercial. Now you know that this issue is being addressed by the incumbent governments in power. You can, apart from Plateau and Benue, where they are fighting over who controls the land, the grazing routes. For the past, those states now, for the past months, for about a month now, we've not had the issue of kidnapping for ransom. So it's not that there are no other crimes being committed, but the issue of kidnapping, the issue of others, farmers clashes have been reduced to the barest minimum, because they don't have somebody at the top that you usually say, let's accommodate our neighbors, even when you knew that what they were doing was wrong.
Okay, so
now that is the negative part of it. But Salonge had mentioned some of the good aspects,
so many good
things.
Now,
but when you look at the economy,
yes,
the economy was not too good at all. That was the time Nigeria indebtedness to the foreign nation became so huge,
astronomical, yes,
that the present government is trying to pay back. What was the value of naira to dollar when it was in government? What of corruption that he said he was trying to fight? It was that period that we have the Peckham fraud.
I think the fortune of naira has continued to plummet, even from the days of Babangida. It's still plummeting. We can't say it was because.
No, I'm saying your policy,
yes,
the policy of a government in power, we either strengthen
Or weaken. Okay, now let's leave all that. Mr. Lunge.
Yeah.
The remains of the late Muhammadu Buhari, the remains were repatriated as they were cargoed to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Our next president. For me, it is a slap on our face. But is it not high time that we started, our politician began to do something about our health infrastructure? Must we go to other nations? Because I can't imagine. Do other leaders go to England? Do they go to the United States to seek services? Because I still don't understand. For me, it's a shame on us. I don't know what you feel about it, your perspective.
They're saying that health is wealth. And it's just unfortunate that previous administration, both even though the military and the civilian, at the federal level and even at state level, have not actually developed our health facilities sufficiently enough for us to have our maybe relevant health equipment, so that they ought to be able to cope with the health challenges of Nigerians. It's not the best for all. You see our leaders running overseas, and at the end of the day, coming back with bringing the cost back to Nigeria. It's not giving us a good image. But sometimes a particular ailment may not have sufficient medical facility to take care of such a thing, maybe on recommendation. A particular leader, a particular individual could be taken abroad. Apart from leaders, we have private individuals, but it's not good for our economy.
It isn't.
Because it is a drain on our foreign reserve, and also the exchange, because it is part of what actually determines the value of the currency of a particular country. Yeah, so that I think this is a clarion call and an advice to this present administration that our health sector must be taken into consideration to address the health sector, particularly the primary health care level, so that all these small ailments and other things, and ensure that drugs are locally produced in this country, because the amount of money that the federal government is spending on drugs and medical equipment is so huge that is really draining our national economy. And thank God the private sector is actually doing well, and they need the support of government. So that I think the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with what has actually happened to the immediate past President Buhari, is a serious issue that we must take serious cognizance of the health sector, so that our leaders don't need to travel out. Because if other Nigerians discover, our leaders, they are at home and they enjoy the same health facilities, it is a way of even people showing more commitment and loyalty to the leaders. Not that, you don't take care of their sector and poor and average Nigerian will be dying here, and you travel abroad to enjoy best of health facilities. And those ones who don't have the opportunity to even travel, even to pay for, even get the visa, not to talk of being able to provide the flight ticket, not to talk of even the treatment over there. It is something that our health sector and education, the two sectors are very, very critical. Any nation that addresses the issue of health and education, that society is always prosperous.
Okay, let's take a quick break now. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us on Viewpoint. NNPC.
NNPC in the Kabosh.
Alright, welcome back to Viewpoints, coming to you live on Osrc television. The governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, has inaugurated his full cabinet with the swearing in of 16 more commissioners. Now we have 18 commissioners in Ondo State. Well, they say the more the merrier. If 2 good heads are better than 1, that means 16 good heads should be better than 2. Well, let me find out from Mr. Okere. What do you expect from the new commissioners?
Well, I expect that what the governor told them today must sink into their brain. That is, they must hit the ground running. Now, to the families of the appointees, they must allow them
To work.
You know, in this climb, once somebody gets an appointment, is in deep crisis. His phones will ring from morning till night, and 85 to 90% of the callers are asking for more help or the other.
Favor.
So I hope that the family, friends, colleagues, former student bodies, and all those people that were associated with the new commissioners will allow them to concentrate. They should not bother them too much about their personal problems. It's not that they are leaders in their own right now, but they should give them the breathing space. Let them concentrate on the mandate given to them by the governor. That's number 1. Then number 2 is that I will tell the governor to please put round peg in round hole, not square peg in a round hole. Let us look, it should look at their CV critically and put them where they're supposed to be. Not putting because I love this one, let me just put him in one juicy ministry or the other.
Okay, because of our time, let me find out from, we have many areas begging for attention. Can you pick 1 or 2 areas where you feel the new commissioners, the cabinet should concentrate upon at the moment?
Thank you. I was also personally there at the Dome today. And looking at their profile, their CV that were read out, I discovered that Mr. Governor had painstakingly appointed persons of high integrity who are highly cerebral for them to be able to assist Mr. Governor, because the commissioners are part of the executive arm of government. And Nigerian, we are operating a presidential system of government that is in the tripod of separation of powers. And they are individually responsible to Mr. Governor, because Mr. Governor on his own cannot personally carry out those activities in the various ministries, departments, and agencies. And he has now looked for assistant that will carry out, and he has told them the mandate to be given to them in their respective places, and he has charged them that they must be committed in the realization of our East agenda, at least to the position of Ondo State. Like said by my colleague, that they should hit the ground running. And Mr. Governor is in a haste to develop Ondo State. And two things. He told them two things: that congratulating the family, and at the same time, the need for caution.
Okay, before we go, 1 minute for you, 1 minute for him. The Chief Executive Officer of NNPC has hinted us that the organization is likely to sell our refineries. So what's the implication of that?
In fact, it's belated.
Oh, they should have done that long ago.
They should have done that long ago. Former president,
Muhammadu Buhari.
Not Buhari.
Jonathan, Goodluck Jonathan.
Not Jonathan.
Obasanjo.
Obasanjo actually sold one because they called Shell, please come and run this day. They said they believe in the upstream sector than the downstream sector because of the corruption in the system. Now, when the Adua came, he took back the refinery, and since then they spent billions of dollars.
No result.
No results. Not even producing because they make money through deportation of fuel.
Yeah,
so it's a big problem. They should sell them outrightly, but they must sell them to competent hands.
Now, Mr. Alonge, we are thinking of raising the bar, maybe 1.9 million barrels per day. How do we achieve that if we cannot put a house in order, if we cannot get the best from our refineries?
For us to be able to meet the target so that our economy can improve. Over the years, NAPC has not been able to generate income or revenue that could assist the government. And you could see the whopping sum of money being injected on the issue of rehabilitation. And on the basis of records, about $18 billion over the years in trying to rehabilitate.
They call it turnaround maintenance.
Turnaround maintenance. And how do you turn around obsolete equipment, old technology?
40 years of age.
40 years of age. That is the type of the machine that are already obsolete. So that there is no matter the turnaround, we cannot get value for our investment. And the best thing now is to put it on sale. But in the process of privatizing it, there must be transparency. It must not be like what was happening to our BDC or NEPA.
Okay.
At the end of the day, from the grave, at least the privatization of NEPA was done to the best interest of Nigeria because it was not transparent. But this time around, it should be done. Dangote said he wanted to buy the NFPC or those refinery at a particular time because it was the power that be work against him.
Gentlemen,
and because of that, he decided to have his own private refinery.
I'm told that my time is up. Thank you so much, Mr. Alonge, for joining me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me.
You are welcome.
Well, that will do as far as the show is concerned. I'm sure you have enjoyed it. You have gained one or two things. Please do join us same time next week. On behalf of everyone here, my name is Akintunde Akishimola. Good evening.